We're going into the bubble. Actually, we're not going into the bubble. The NBA is going into the bubble in Orlando, Florida. I'm joined by my friends Ryan Knaus and Steve Alexander from Rotoworld. Let's get into the nuts and bolts, guys, of how this is supposed to happen with the NBA in Disney World. So what is going on here, Ryan? We got 22 teams invited into the bubble. We won't start with a playoff-style bracket. We'll start actually with the end of the regular season, Ryan.
Yeah, we have 8 regular season games that are going to be played by these 22 teams in the so-called bubble or campus-like environment, which staff and players are not allowed to leave. If they do, they're subject to a 10-day quarantine, and then will have to pass 2 COVID-19 tests in order to be allowed back into the fold, so to speak. So the first 8 regular season games are seeding games, they're calling them, so that teams outside of the playoff picture have a chance to fight their way in, and teams within the playoffs already can fight their way up. And there's a very unique twist that we've never seen in the NBA before, where if the number 9 seed team in either conference is within 4 games of the number 8 seed, they will play a 2-game play-in tournament, essentially, where the number 9 seed needs to win 2 straight. And if the number 8 seed wins a single game, they're in the playoffs. So we're in unprecedented waters, and here's hoping everyone stays healthy and the NBA pulls this off.
So there are more teams alive for that 8-9 play-in series out west. You just have the Nets, Magic, Wizards out east. Right. Steve, so when you look at this plan here, and obviously nothing is going to be quote-unquote fair, but do you feel like the NBA came up with a plan here that gives these teams a legitimate shot?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if this play-in thing comes to be, because if I'm a number 8 seed and I'm 4 games ahead of a number 9 seed, and then they get lucky and beat me twice in a row, and I'm knocked out of the playoffs, I think I'd be pretty upset if I was the number 8 seed that got knocked out by the play-in team. So I'm kind of excited to see that. Like, I think that's going to be the biggest drama we see really until the finals get here, is a 2-game play-in series that we've never seen before. I'm pretty excited about it, actually.
I'm excited about the new ideas too, Ryan. Yeah, exactly. That may carry over, and you'll get a look at them here in this weird 2020 season. You go, I kind of liked how that worked out.
Yeah, and to your point, Ahmed, I think they're trying to make it as fair and just of a system as they possibly can. So they're allowing teams to bring 17 players into the bubble, sort of giving them a little bit more wiggle room in case of injuries. And in fact, if players get hurt or if they get sick with COVID-19 or anything else, they're allowed to be replaced. Now, the players who are replaced cannot return for the rest of the season. So it's a pretty big decision for teams to make, but they're trying to make it as fair as possible. And they're also, Adam Silver was adamant that he does not want an asterisk on this season. So he has lobbied hard for 7-game series the entire way. No 3-game first round, no 5-game second round, just the usual playoff format, as close as they can adhere to it. So I think they've done their level best, and we'll see how it works out.
And it's going to be very interesting also to see what guys go and play and what guys end up not playing, because, Kyrie Irving recently came out and is having a meeting with some guys. It almost feels like there's guys that want to go and play, and there's guys that are scared to play. There's a lot of, things going on in the country right now that are probably weighing into their decision making a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see what players go there and go all in, and what players want to stay home, because I think we're going to see more guys stay home than we might think.
A lot of rookies, guys eligible for rookie extensions. A lot of them, Donovan Mitchell, Bam Adebayo, have come out and said, well, I haven't played in months. I don't want to go get hurt and jeopardize a max extension that I'm eligible for. So there's a lot of things that they have to navigate.
So what do you think, Ryan, when you look at, obviously there's safety concerns here. You just mentioned them. The idea of being able to stay in a bubble for this long, having that plan work, how long are these teams expected to be there? I'm trying to look at the schedule here. It looks like most teams will be there maybe a month, and then you get a few more teams that'll be there a few. It's not like they're going to have to be there half of the year. The NBA is trying to limit the time that they're in the bubble.
They really are. So according to Adrian Wojnarowski, 14 teams will be gone within 53 days, so a little under 2 months. And then only 4 teams will still be there after 67 days. That's when the conference final starts. And they're also limiting players and staff can't have family there initially. And then at a certain point, they will be allowed to bring them in. So they're really trying to limit the number of people. They said at any given time, I think 1,600 is the number. They don't want any more than that. And that just allows them to do player tracing. Who are you in contact with? Are you leaving the bubble? Are you adhering to the regulations? Just kind of make it feasible to actually track all these people, because there's a human element here that, what if someone leaves the campus and doesn't alert their team? There's a lot can happen.
Do you think it'll work, Steve?
Yeah, I think it's going to work. I was talking to a buddy of mine on the golf course the other day, and he was saying that he was watching some soccer the other day, and there were no fans in the stands, and he felt like he was watching a high school game. He's like, I don't think the NBA is going to work without fans. I think it is. I think people are so jonesing to see live sports on TV that I think people will tune in to these NBA games. I think people are going to be fired up about it, and I do think the whole thing is going to work. I think it's all going to depend on who goes and shows up. I mean, we're still a ways away from finding out who all is going to be there, but LeBron's going to be there. He wants to win his 4th ring. The big guns on the big teams are going to be there. I think it's going to work, and I think people are going to be fired up. I mean, I've started watching more NASCAR than I ever thought I would, and if that's happening, people are going to freak out when the NBA gets back.
Live sports, some entertainment there. So Ryan, you brought it up briefly, the idea of a legitimate champion, and if this champion in 2020 will be considered in the same vein as other champions from previous year, Raptors, Warriors, Cavs. What do you think? What's the likely chance that we get done with this playoff and think that whoever won it is a legitimate champion?
I'm on board. I mean, I think if anything, this is more adversity. Guys have been sitting at home, so it's going to reward the people who worked the hardest, who found unique, creative ways to stay in shape, to connect with teammates, connect with coaches, hone their craft, hone their game during this downtime. And if someone tried to take a shortcut over the past, since March 11th when the league shut down, it's going to show up in the result on the court when we get to Orlando and resume play. So I think the legitimacy isn't even a question for me, especially with 7-game series. There's going to be enough of a lead-in with training camps and a couple regular season games to get guys back into, get the competitive juices flowing and get them in shape. So, yeah, I'm in the camp of thinking that whoever wins is going to be an NBA champion just like every other team.
Yeah, and my Atlanta Braves won the World Series in 1995. That was a strike-shortened season. People were like, "Oh, there's an asterisk next to it," but you never hear people talk about that now. I think when you look back on things historically, like the Braves won the '95 World Series. I don't know that a lot of people still think or talk about the fact that was a strike-shortened season.
Yeah, I agree. Winning, the banners fly forever, and the how you did it fades. And Ryan, you're right. It may be even more memorable in the fashion that you do it in 2020. We just hope that they can do it safely and can get through the schedule and give everyone out there some entertainment. The NBA getting back in the bubble coming up here in just a few weeks.